let's get going. Welcome everybody to the Old Colony MPO meeting of February 18th. This meeting is accessible to people with disabilities. Microphones or telephones will be used by all speakers. If you'd like this accommodation, please contact Mary Waldron at 508-583-1833. The Notice of Non-Discrimination Rights and Protection to Beneficiaries with regard to federal Title VI non-discrimination protections and the state non-discrimination protections is included on this meeting agenda and is available on the Old Colony Planning Council website at https://oldcolonyplanning.org/. And again, please contact Mary Waldron at 508-583-1833 for more information. Thank you. That was really small, Charlie. He's already trying to test me.
What?
Oh, that's fun.
So we'll do the roll call.
Yeah. Charlie, can you please do the roll?
Steve Wolfel.
Steve Wolfel, Representative Secretary and CEO of MassDOT. Monica Tibbetts not here.
Sean Handy.
Sean Handy, representing Mass DOT Administrator Jonathan Gulliver.
Tyler Bouchard.
Tyler Bouchard here, representing the town of Kingston.
Great, thank you. Lee Hartman.
Lee Hartman, representing the town of Plymouth.
Dan Salvucci.
Present.
Thank you. Kelly Forrester.
Here.
Thank you. And Mary Waldron.
I'm here representing Becky Coletta, President of Old Colony Planning Council.
Great, thank you, Mary. Chair, we do have a quorum present.
All right, let's move to agenda item 2. Are there any members of the public who would like to address the MPO today? Seeing none. By the way, Charlie, you forgot again. Ex officios, damn it.
Okay, so I don't see anybody from Federal Transit on the call.
Just put it so we can say in the minutes.
Yep. So FTA? Nobody? Federal Highway Administration?
Perfect, Charlie. So when we forget later, you can point to these meeting minutes. I did it on February 18th, I promise.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
So-
okay. And Old Colony Joint Transportation Committee, I do see Vice Chair Dan Salvucci present.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, so I don't
Wearing
think
two
we have any
hats.
There you go. I don't think we have any members of public, so let's move on to agenda 3, which are the minutes from January 21st. Can I get a motion and a second to approve the minutes?
So move, Dan Salvucci. Come on, Lee. Second, Lee Hartman.
It's good. I'm glad, Lee. I didn't have to do it. The chair didn't have to get involved. This is perfect. Are there any changes or comments on the minutes? All right, seeing none. Charlie, can you read the roll?
Steve Wolfel,
Yes.
Sean Handy,
Yes.
Tyler Bouchard,
Yes.
Lee Hartman,
Yes.
Dan Salvucci,
Yes.
Kelly Forrester,
Yes.
and Mary Waldron.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
All right, so the next agenda item is agenda item 4, which is the Brockton Area Transit Authority VAT report update. And I think we have safety measures. So Kelly, I assume you're taking it away?
I am. Thank you. Before we get to our exciting safety measures, I just want to give a quick general update, which is that we are hoping to launch our overnight employment transportation pilot program. We're looking to do that in late winter, early spring. We are going to be working with Uber, and that will provide a subsidy to anyone who is working within our whole entire service area between the hours of 9 p.m. and 6 a.m. And that will give them some transportation to and from work in those times. And then also just wanted to mention that we had the governor visit the BAT Center last week. It went really well. We wanted to thank Mary and Charlie and all the staff there for helping us prepare for that, and Mary Ellen for attending as well. And then other than that, we're on to some public transportation agency safety plans. So every year BAT has to update its PTASP, which is what it's called. This is a regulation from FTA that has providers develop safety plans in connection with the union, the advisory board, and management as well. These plans include processes to implement safety management systems, and the goal is to improve safety for passengers and transit workers. The regulation requires that the safety committee, which is the union and management, approve the plan and set targets every year. The FTA deems that the target should be the average of the last 5 years of actual data. So this year, that is the only change we made to our safety plan. So the performance targets they have us set are fatalities, injuries, and safety events. And for our targets for this year, our fatalities target is 0. They have those as a total target and then a rate per million vehicle revenue miles. Both of those will be 0. Our injuries, our target for total for fixed route will be 12 total injuries. And for our demand response will be 1. When we convert those, sorry, I think that is on page 3.
Page 4.
4.
Next one. Yep.
There we go. Yeah, so that will have our injuries rate at 9.5 for fixed route, and demand response, we actually travel less miles, so that increases our rate to 3.5. And then safety events is basically any accident, incident, something that results in a reportable event to FTA. So fixed route, that will be a total target of 5 with a rate of 3.9 per million revenue vehicle miles. And demand response will again be 1 with a rate of 3.5. And then I forgot the system reliability. So that is miles between major mechanical failures. So that is a failure of a revenue vehicle that prevents it from continuing on its next scheduled trip. So something like a flat tire or brake issues or something like that. For fixed route, we are setting that at 20,000 miles between major mechanical failures. And demand response, we're setting that at 30,000 miles between major mechanical failures. These are the performance targets I present to you guys. I believe we are looking for a vote on that, Charlie? Or we just present?
Yes, please, a vote would be good.
Oh, and then I ask if anyone has any questions.
All right, can I get a motion and a second to approve these, and then I'll open up to any questions that people have of Kelly.
Motion to approve, Mary Waldron.
Second, Dan Salvucci.
All right, anyone have any questions for Kelly? All right, seeing none. Charlie, you want to read the roll, please?
Sure. Steve Wolfel,
Yes.
Sean Handy,
Yes.
Tyler Bouchard,
Yes.
Lee Hartman,
Yes.
Dan Salvucci,
Yes.
Kelly Forrester,
Yes.
and then I see Becky Coletta has joined us. Becky Coletta,
Yes.
thank you. Motion carries.
All
Thank
right,
you.
thank you, Kelly. I believe the next agenda item is, agenda item 5. It's the update from GATRA. Is anyone here from GATRA?
Hi, Mary Ellen.
Oh, hey, Marilyn, take it away.
Hello.
Hi.
So, GATRA is very happy to report that we have seen a 7% increase in ridership year over year, and we are not a fare-free system. So despite that, we are still seeing an increase in ridership. We are almost at capacity on our demand response and microtransit, which is good and bad. We need new vehicles. And I think we are rightfully concerned about the fact that we just lost 3 people at FTA Region 1. And one of them directly worked with us. So I think I had a call with them this morning. Between their inability to give us direct answers and some cuts we see coming on the state side, I think we're in for a little bit of a tough year with our capital plan. They're reducing our capital spending. So it's causing us to rethink both our electric vehicle program and what we can realistically plan to do going forward while keeping core service on the road, which is my priority. So that is my update.
Any questions for Mary Ellen? Mary Ellen, who's the 3 that left in Region 1? I hadn't heard yet. I'm not surprised to hear, but I hadn't heard.
So Christy
Apicella, yeah.
Apicella, which is the one that hurts us the most.
Yeah, I remember, yeah.
The head of planning, who I hadn't met yet, Amanda somebody. And then I forget who the third name was, but they were still trying to deal with the fallout of that
Okay.
this
All right.
morning.
All right. Well, thank you, Mary Ellen. All right. We'll move on to agenda item 6, which is our first tip related item. And I will turn it over to Bill.
Thank you, Chair. So if you recall at our last MPO meeting, we released an amendment number 2 to the public review and comment period. Okay, thanks. So that amendment included the addition of 2 discretionary grants that were received in the region through the bipartisan infrastructure law program. First of all, the town of Abington, they received a planning and demonstration grant through the Safe Streets for All program. That was in the total for about $377,000. And then the Old Colony Planning Council received a grant in the total of $1.99 million for through the prioritization process pilot program grant. So these were new projects being added to the TIP. They don't affect funding and for other projects on the TIP, but since they do involve federal funds, they need to be included. Following that release to public review and comment period, the notice was placed in the 2 major newspapers in the region, the Brockton Enterprise and the Patriot Ledger. It was also directly distributed through our mailing list, and then posted on our socials. We presented it to the Old Colony Planning Council Board of Directors at their January meeting, and we also presented it to the Old Colony Joint Transportation Committee at their February meeting. Both those boards accepted and approved this amendment as presented by staff. So at this time, I'll take any questions, and if not, then I'd ask this board to endorse this TIP as amended through amendment number 2.
All right. Any questions for Bill?
No. Grants, good job.
All right. Can I get a motion second to approve?
I
I'll
would
make
move
that-
to approve amendment number 2 and adopt the TIP as amended.
Second, Dan Salvucci.
All right. Last call for any questions. Seeing none, Charlie, can you read the roll?
Steve Wolfle,
Yes.
Sean Handy,
Yes.
Tyler Bouchard,
Yes.
Lee Hartman,
Yes.
Dan Salvucci,
Yes.
Kelly Forrester,
Yes.
and Becky Coletta.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
All right. Let's move to the next agenda item, which is agenda item 7, which is another TIP item. It's development timeline and key dates, as well as the results of TIP readiness day. So I'm going to turn it back to Bill.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So as you all know, this is the time that we start developing our next update of the TIP. So this go around is will be federal fiscal years 2026 through 2030. It's kind of hard to believe that we're kind of getting into the 2030s already, but here we are. So some major dates coming up. So 1 month from today, we'll present to this board a selection of planning scenarios. Typically we present 3. So usually in-house we'll develop probably about 5 usually, and we'll narrow that down to 3 and then present 3 to this board 1 month from today. And then we'll ask this board to select a preferred set of projects. And that preferred set of projects is what will be used for the development of the new TIP. So if you just want to go to the next page. So beyond that, at the April JTC meeting, we will present to the JTC that preferred set of projects that this MPO will select, and then we'll develop a draft TIP at the April MPO meeting. We'll present that draft TIP and ask this board to consider releasing it to a public review and comment period while it is up through while excuse me, while it is out for a public review and comment period, we'll present to the typical groups that we normally present to, like JTC, our own board of directors, and then also same thing, direct mail it to our mailing list, and then ultimately the May MPO meeting is when we'd be looking for an endorsed product. So that's the timeline. A couple weeks ago, we did have tip readiness days. So tip readiness days, as everyone knows, that's when the MPOs and the MassDOT gather and we look at the existing list of program projects, as well as other projects in the universe of projects. And then we determine the readiness states of these projects. So I do know that we have a couple of signatories with hard breaks coming up. So I'll just kind of highlight the important. It's all important, but the some of the red flags that came out of tip readiness days. So if you just want to go to the next page, Sean. Next page. Yeah, okay, here we go. We're looking for the right, unfortunately. So in Avon, the projects for the improvement project at Route 28 at East and West Spring Street, and also including the intersection of Harrison Boulevard. This was originally programmed for federal fiscal year 2026. So design is active on this. Design's been moving forward, but the consensus right now is where this project is currently in design, they don't see a easy path for this advertising in 2026. And the recommendation is to move this to 2027. This project is on the state side of a project, so it doesn't affect projects in our regional regional priority list of projects. However, it's a delay is a delay nonetheless. So that is a little disappointing, but we've been in contact with the town of Avon and working with them to determine if they're okay with this change going to 2027. So let's go to the next. And then finally, so these are the last two red flags, if you will. So in the city of Brockton, let's see the projects for Route 123, which is Center Street at Plymouth Street. This is a project that's been kind of delayed for quite a while. It was originally 2024. It fell out of 2024, went to 2025. And now we're at a point where it doesn't look like it's going to be advertised this year and now recommended for 2026. And similarly, the other Brockton project, the Summer Street at Grove Street and Lyman Street, including the Grove Street Bridge, that was programmed for 2026, and there does not look to be an easy path for that advertising in 2026, and recommendation is for 2027. So these are the three projects that are unlikely to advertise in their current program years. As you recall from what happened last year, so unfortunately, what happens is this tends to have a cascading effect throughout the 5-year program of the TIP. For example, for right now, if nothing else changed right now, 2027 is significantly over programmed, so we would have to bump something out of 2027. But then 2028, that might over program 2028, so then something falls into 2029. So unfortunately, that's the end result of when projects are unable to advertise in their program years. So we're working with the communities on this issue. We're also developing those planning scenarios that will present 1 month from today. And the good news is everything else in the TIP seemed good for their program years. Even this one project, a bridge project in Kingston, Smith's Lane over Route 3. they actually foresee that possibly going a year earlier than it was that's programmed. So, it's not all bad news, but so that's the timeline for the tip, as I discussed a little while ago. I don't know if anyone has any questions at this time.
I see Becky has her hand up.
Yeah,
All right,
I
Becky.
think my question is for Mass DOT, more than anything, but maybe you guys as well. When we're looking at our tip, the criteria for selecting projects over time has included things like environmental justice communities. Is that changing at all, given that a lot of this flows down from federal money? Do we just
So,
keep going with the tip projects we have planned, or is there going to be any review of our projects to make sure that the criteria we used in selection meets the current mandates?
so we don't really know, Becky.
Okay,
It's entirely, like, I know other parts of transportation, like the Transportation Research Board is reviewing projects and stuff. So there's certainly some of that going around. We are not doing that yet. Are we going to be required to? I don't know yet. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Every day there seems to be new guidance and new things coming out. So we don't really know. So we're just going to keep going the way we're going until told otherwise, I guess. And then we'll have to all work together to revisit if that's what we're told to do. Or
thank you, Steve. My other question along the same lines is, do we think the money is going to change this, in the next 2 years, or we still don't know?
we still don't know. I'm on a couple of ASHTO committees, and I think at least that's what they said. Now, how much we know, I don't know how much they know themselves right now, but I think in general, everyone, from what I heard from them, they are more comfortable with the formula, but not the discretionary. But that's just what I heard last week in a meeting. So that's
does our
about.
tip not include discretionary?
No, we do have to put discretionary projects in. So we just don't know, Becky. And this is just ASHTO telling us what they think, but they don't really know. None of us really know yet. So we're just going to have to keep working together. It's going to be, as Marilyn said, it's going to be changes all the time. We're just going to have to adapt to it as we go through this year. So.
Okay. It was just scary over the weekend. I heard that something like 60 people got let go from the Volpe Center. And now I'm hearing 3 people from the Region 1, and it's obviously concerning because we're kind of going along business as usual, and I just don't want us to get caught by surprise. But I hear you, Steve, that people in the agencies don't even know at this point, right?
Right. So we're just I think this is where we lean into the relationships that we have with all of you at the MPOs, and we're just gonna have to work through it together. It's not going to be easy, but we've always make things work. So we'll figure out a way to make this work.
Thanks, Steve. On the
Yep.
Avon project, I just want to note that in addition to talking to the town, I hope someone's talking to, giving the information to our OCPC delegates from Avon, so they don't get caught by surprise.
Mhm.
And I was good to hear about Smith's Lane and Kingston might go a year earlier, because I'd like to see us use as much money as we can, as quickly as we can.
Of course. Thank you.
I can say
All
the
right.
people in the Kingston project, people will be very excited to hear about. So thank you for that report.
All right. Anyone else have any questions for Bill? All right. Seeing none. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
All right. The next agenda item is agenda item 8. It's administrative matters, other business, and date and time of next meeting. Charlie, you got stuff?
Yes, thank you. So we have a couple updates for you. The first, dovetailing on Bill McNulty's report on the tip. You're invited to attend a virtual design public hearing for the Center Street at Plymouth Street project in Brockton. It's scheduled for 6 p.m. on February 25th. And as you know, when these design public hearings are held, that means that there's an approved 25% design for this project. And this is one of the projects that Bill noted was going to be sliding out a year because it simply won't be ready for advertisement in its current programmed year. But we're sharing this with you all in case you're interested in the process of tip projects for your community as well. And I note this is an important project because it's also adjacent to the BAT Intermodal Center, and it includes the signalization of Plymouth Street at Center Street. Next. So and there's the official slide. You can click the QR code, etc. Next slide. So speaking of federal funds, our friends at the Federal Funds Infrastructure Office are having a meeting on February 25th at 2 p.m. It's a monthly meeting of this entity to help communities pursue discretionary grants. And as you heard earlier in the call, the future of certain discretionary grants is to be determined. But there's a link in the staff report, and I also posted the entire staff report to the chat, so you can download this entire document, which includes the hyperlinks. Next. And here's our series of upcoming meetings of the MPO, March through June. I do note, while these have been virtual, there is potential that the April and May might have to be in person. As you know, the current, or may not know, the extension allowing for virtual participation of board meetings expires on March 31st. So if that expires without an extension or a replacement, we would have to go back to in-person meetings. But my understanding is that the extension is included, or a replacement is included within the governor's Municipal Modernization Act, which has been filed. So we're waiting to see what happens with this. I don't know if anybody on the call has any updates with that regard, or have heard anything either.
Yeah, I haven't either, Charlie, heard any updates, but, obviously MassDOT will be in person for those meetings if that, if the extension doesn't happen. And in terms of the meetings that Charlie just spelled out with kind of the question Betsy asked, like, we need to make sure we have quorum so we can move and take up, any of the votes that we need to take and make sure we have quorums. I say that all the time, but I think with all the churn that's going to be this year, that we just need to make sure we have full membership so we can take action when we need to. So anything else, Charlie?
No, that's what I have for today. Thank you.
All right, so I think we just adjourned, correct?
Yes.
All right, can I get a motion second to adjourn?
Lee Hartman, move to adjourn.
Becky, I'll second.
Wow, I was trying to get done so Dan could leave on time, and he just dumped us anyways. No, I'm just kidding. All right, all in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
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 All right,
Bye.
thank you, everybody.
right,
Stay
thank you.
warm, be safe. We'll see you next month. Thank you.
I
Bye-bye.
was
Sure,
muted,
okay, bye.
sorry.
Thank you.